Hello and welcome to the Leadbetter Golf Academy here at World Headquarters at Champions Gate. We're delighted to be broadcasting live a special webinar in our series of educational talks and topics we've been doing during this strange lockdown that we've all been going through. We were delighted to be able to reopen Champions Gate last week, and even more delighted that one of the first golfers to come join us is Rafa Cabrera Bello, and this place, Champions Gate, is normally a sanctuary for our players, and David and Rafa have been working this morning as Rafa gets ready to start his season again. For those that you don't know, Rafa finished the players after day one 4 under, the tie for 7th, and is still waiting to tee off for his second round, and is actually still living in Sawgrass, so he hasn't left. But we'll hear more about that from Rafa and David. The whole objective of this webinar is to give you a little insight behind the curtain, if you like, into what David and his tour players are working on. And this, as I say, this is normally a sanctuary for Rafa to get away from the cameras, but he's been generous enough to let us film. So you'll be hearing from Rafa and David. They're going to go through some tips. We encourage you to ask questions. We already have a lot of questions that have been submitted. This is for you. This is for the viewers, the golfers, the coaches who would like to learn a little bit more about what goes on the lesson tee with David and his players. So with that being said, I'm going to turn over to David. David and Rafa, the floor is yours. You can go where you wish with this.
Well, thank you, Ben, and sorry a little bit late, but I had an urgent phone call from one of our amateur students, and he was in a panic because this was the first time he played for 7 weeks, and he birdied the first 3 holes, and he's really worried because he thinks he's got to take another 7 weeks off in order to keep playing. So there you go. Yeah. So you had, they all had beautiful rhythm, and you've got, obviously you've got one of the best golfers we've done on the tour there. And so what we're going to do today, we're just going to talk a little bit about some of your fundamentals and maybe a couple of the drills that we've done. I mean, we've obviously done a number of drills through the years, and you're pretty meticulous in how you work at the game. And this little mirror in front there, you see, this is pretty interesting, and I've promised them for years we're going to try to sort of market this. It's actually really good because, for the most part, he can just check whether he's got a sunscreen on, or how his hair is capped, and by the way, you can actually see certain things in the swing, the way your shoulders are lined up and what's happening. So it's really interesting. Whenever you see Rafa on the practice tee at tournaments, he's one that has this mirror set up between his feet and the ball, and you've used it quite a while, right?
Yeah, it's good to check on my makeup, of course. Jokes aside, it's great for me to see. It's the idea of the same idea like a lot of players do, putting the sticks for alignment. Well, I obviously can use the edges of the mirror for alignment, but then I have the reflection where I can see if I'm trying to feel something. I can get the instant feedback of what it's doing. I want to say that I don't hit the ball looking at the mirror. I mean, I just do it for the rehearsals, and then when I look at the ball, like, the mirror is just not there because I'm used to it. So
yeah. I know all your friends on tour tease you about that. So
yeah.
Anyway, well, first of all, I want to say, look, although you've worked on your technique, you're not a very technical player. Okay, I mean, I don't know if it's part of your Spanish upbringing, because not many Spaniards are actually that technical. I mean, it's much more feel. I mean, you think of the great Seve Ballesteros. I mean, it's like, okay, it's feel. And so what we try to do, obviously, through little drills and the way we verbalize things, is try to give you technique through feel, because when you're out playing, you don't really have to think about your swing in the tournament. I mean, you're sort of very much, okay, there's the target, hit ball to target.
Exactly. I mean, when I'm competing, I just think about the target and my alignment. I just want to set up the square to where I want the ball to start, and obviously visualize the shot of where I want to finish. But outside that, I don't even want to think about the first move of how to take the club away or anything. I just let that happen. Right. When we're on the range or we're practicing something specific, I mean, you pay a little bit more attention to the technique, but I'm not one that focuses so much about positions. I'm just like you said, I want to focus on, okay, what's this? So I want to change something, and I try to change it through feeling. So instead of being focused if the club is here or there, the shaft is here or there, I'm like, okay, what do I feel when the club is there? And that's the feeling that I then later try to repeat.
Right, and golf, unfortunately, you can get to the point for a lot of amateurs in particular. There's so much information out there now. You can overanalyze things and get tight and stiff. I mean, you're a great skier and surfer. I mean, that's sort of instinct. I mean, hey, you might take some lessons but when you're going downhill, on a double black, or you've got a 20-foot wave, right? You're not thinking to a technique, right?
I'm not a 20-foot wave, I can't really water, but like double black, right. But like, yeah, you want to let your nervous system and your brain control your body. They do a better job than your conscious part of your brain.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. All right, so let's pretend we're having a little practice session or warm-up session here. So let's start off with a wedge of some sort. And so normally when you go to the tournament, do you have a set sort of way that it's quite interesting. Every player is a little bit different. I mean, what club do you normally warm up with? What club do you normally hit? I mean, how long is your warm-up session? Warm-up, okay, not a practice session. It's a warm-up.
Yeah. Before we run, I try to start practicing about an hour 15, an hour and a half before I need to compete. And I'll divide my time by 3. I'll spend the first third.
So you get there plenty of time.
Yes.
So why are you always late for the first tee then?
Because I'm not late. I just run to it. I'm not
late. Here we go.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I start putting, and then I move on to the chipping green, short game area, and then I move on to the range. When I'm in the range hitting balls, I start with shorter clubs. I'll pick one of the wedges. Normally, I'll just get my gap wedge because it's in the middle, and then I'll move up the bag. I'll use maybe a 9, 8 iron, 7 iron.
Nothing set.
There's nothing set. No. It's not like.
I was thinking of that years ago. It was great players. Sir Bob Charles who won the Open. First went left-handed, and he was a very meticulous guy. So, on a Monday he used even club, on a Tuesday he used odd club, and then so on and so forth. I mean, that was how it was just like.
Other players wish like that just because we do hit a lot of balls and we do practice a lot just so that you don't get say the odd numbers or an 8 iron really being worn out. Some guys just on odd days hit the odd club.
Furthermore, if you look in your bag and somehow you're 8 out of this, you'd have a heart attack. Okay, so go ahead and let's hit a few here. And one of the great assets that you have is your beautiful rhythm, and that's something which really is natural to a large extent, for sure. And in fact, if anything, with an improvement in technique, your tempo. Remember, tempo. There's a sort of a fine line between tempo and rhythm. People throw those two terms around. Rhythm really is how all the bits connect, if you will. Tempo is really a measurement of time. So it's a measurement of time from the time you take the club back to the time you make contact. I would say because of Raf's more efficient swing over the last few years, his tempo has actually gone up. Yeah. Because it's taken less time for the club to get to the ball. I mean, he's still working on it.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of times, swinging slow is not necessarily a great key. All right. For some people it may be, but it's the key really being is how and what we. In a nutshell, I think Raf has a beautifully what we call synchronized golf swing, how the arms and the body sort of work very nicely together. And that's probably one of the biggest things that we worked on from the beginning, where his tendency was to sort of have a pretty early turn, and his arms would lift and his body would go, and it was like, he had to find it with his hands. Now, if you've got great hands, you still got a lot of quality golf shots, but it's a consistency factor, right?
I feel like. First of all, I'm getting the ball more consistent than a few years ago, obviously because the swing has gotten better, more connected. But also, when I don't play for a week, it's not so hard to get back at it again. I feel like because everything is more, it's just synchronization is better and technique is gotten better. I feel like I can go for 4 days without hitting a ball, and then as soon as I'm back there, I feel like I could be tournament ready.
Well, this Corona period.
This has been tested.
Right?
I always start doing a few smooth swings just to get the body warming up properly. I mean, I have done my workout regime, my warm-up workout regime.
You normally work out.
As a general rule, I like to work out after the rounds, just for safety purposes. I don't want to something to go wrong on the workout regime, but I do have a warm-up regime. That one I do every day. That normally just takes 20 minutes.
To get physio, just to...
Correct. A little, if you woke up with a little sore neck, then you get a little extra treatment. But that will be something extra, additional to the normal 20-minute warm-up, which is just more mainly activation, a little bit of.
How many hours would you say a week during the tournament, and then during half week would you work out? Because I mean, you know the workout stuff. So what would you say?
Yeah.
I mean,
so of workout, I will do on tournament weeks. The actual workout will be like an hour 15 a day, 5 days a week. The weeks I am off, it's closer to an hour and a half. But I spend more time in the gym. I'm not counting the warm up as a workout. The warm up will be additional. So in total, it'll be close to. Just under 2 hours, between an hour and a half and 2 hours every day on tournament days, on tournament weeks. And then at home, if I'm having the long workout session, then I won't do an additional warm up because I don't need it. So 5 days a week is my target. I like to have 2 days. Occasionally, I'll do 6 days a week, and other weeks I'll do 4 or 3.
Right. And you love it. I know if you miss a workout, it's something that's...
It's okay. I can afford to miss one, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit a few. Should hit some golf balls. I'm talking about anything else. I'm in golf, but anyway, all part of your holistic approach to the game. Anything going through your mind right now, or is it just
just making sure the feet are parallel. I can check the shoulders, and I can check how the club is moving around the body. And that's it. I do that on the rehearsal, and then I'm square, feel square, and now just hit the ball. Really happy.
right? Yeah, as with every player, I'm just wrapping up what I talk here. But as with every player, I've never worked with a player that doesn't have certain tendencies. I mean, I can think back honestly, to Nick Price, my great friend, who was #1 in the world, and really one of the world's great ball strikers through the years, great hand player. But I remember his swing when he was 12 years old, so we're talking about 50 years ago now. So, and he's got some of the same traits now that he had then. So it's not that everything goes away. What you've got to do, you've got to get to a point where you understand your swing, you understand maybe the little compensations you make, and remember, every swing is different. You cannot try to make everybody swing the same way. People have tried to swing and copy, whether it be Bobby Jones or Ben Hogan or Jack Nicklaus or Nick Faldo or Tiger Woods, and there's never been any real replicas that have been successful. So everybody has their own DNA. Every swing is a little bit different, and I think when you look at Raf's swing, I mean, he's got a great body for the game. I mean, he moves well, doesn't have any sort of restrictions or limitations, and so I mean, Raf, okay, if you just set up to the ball, I mean, you're constantly checking your grip. That's one of the things, because if you let's look at a couple of his tendencies. A couple of the tendencies are, one, to getting the face a little bit shut. I mean, that's one of the things that we sort of worked on first of all, and we sort of established a slightly different grip pattern where you had the club a little bit more down towards the fingers. We've got it's more neutral grip, shall we say, where it used to be quite palmy, and the palmy look. It looks like his great friend John Rahm, okay, which it's pretty successful for him. But everybody's different, and so I think the key here is that because he's got such a free-flowing swing, in many respects, it's sort of the flow reminds me sort of an Ernie Els type of golf swing. So the grip is important. One more, there's a long bit up there. I mean, one thing that's very noticeable over the years how much shorter the swing has got, because when the club used to get around a lot here, and then it was a big lift, the club would get pretty long. And so you look at the body movement, and you say, Yeah, remember how you did it? Well, didn't look that good. But the thing is, in the golf swing, you've got three basic components. Okay, you've got your setup, which is absolutely so essential to get right, because that's the platform for your swing. You've got the way that your body moves, the way it coils, the way you wind up, the way you load, the way you transition, the way you rotate through it. So a lot of rotation, a little bit of lateral within there. And then finally, you've got the club movement, which you then have to sort of blend with the body movement so the body can actually do its thing. Because to my mind, I've always said, it's like in the golf swing, the dog wants the whale to tap, whale, wag the tail. There you go. As opposed to many players, the amateurs in particular, they grab the club with the foregrip, they take the club back with their hands and arms. So the tail is wagging the dog, and the body, okay, well, it may look half decent, it may not look, but the fact of the matter is you've got to get these two big components, the arm swing and the body rotation and movement and coiling all synced up together. All right, so let's look at wrap here. We're going to go through just a couple of things here, things that I remember all of them now, right? But anyway, okay, so good balance setup. You can see, if you just take the setup there for me, it's going to get behind you. You can see if I sort of give him a shove this way, he's well balanced, got the weight right through the sort of the top of his shoelaces there. This way, same thing. So he's nicely balanced, and I'm sure all his skiing and surfing, balance is not an issue with Raf. So every alignment, obviously, trying to get the shoulders, the hips, the knees, the feet, and even the eyes all parallel to his target line. So the big thing we really worked on to start with, and this was a big key, and we talk about this a lot, where this moves this, the hands move in, the club head stays out. And so we have a tendency to sort of get this separation and this around here. And we see that a lot with a lot of players. And that's where you take the club back. This way it's a movement back, and you can see almost, okay, turn and face me, right? Just turn your body around and face me. We put that down, it's pretty much in the same position. And that's a good little test for a lot of people. So as you move away, sort of almost at 6 o'clock where the ball is to about 8 o'clock, if you turn around and face it now, you're essentially in the same position you were at the start. So there's no outward movement, no fanning movement, and because remember, many problems really happened early on in the swing. So from there, as we carried on here, we then worked on getting the club set. And so in this case, the club is, it's not steep, but it is set a little more vertically. I've always been a big believer as long as the left arm stays connected to the chest, because that can alter the position a lot. So you overdo it, either separating it or snagging it too much. But this steepness here, as he wound up there, so he completed the backswing in this wind up, and the club face got a much more neutral position. And he's got a little angle here, maybe not quite as much as that when he hits it, but I just say this is a bone of contention with a lot of people now. A lot of players, you have Koepka, Dustin Johnson, John Ram. A lot of players are here, and it's not, in my opinion, the most natural position. It certainly works in many instances. I think you've got to be a very strong player to do that, because pretty much you're actually hanging on to, if anything, a slightly shut face for the most part, and so you're hanging on to that release. So it takes quite a bit of speed. In fact, if you speak to Gary Player, he used to be that way, and so that's why he hooked it so much. And in fact, he got the thought, certainly from Ben Hogan, who got that sort of pronation, if you will, with that slight cut there. Because to me, it always makes sense. If you start off like that, why wouldn't you want to be like that at the top? Why would you actually want to manipulate it to get it into this position? Now, yes, you could. There's players that do it, and that I remember seeing. Certainly Dustin Johnson, when he was about 15 or 16, he had that look there. So it's not something he's added into his swing over the years. It's something, it's a naturalness with him. So John Ram the same. He said, no, I've always looked it very weak, always had it here, and I've just played with it, and his talent shone through. So it's not nothing's wrong in the golf swing. A lot of black areas, a lot of white areas, but there's a tremendous amount of gray areas, and you can work around these. That's why every swing essentially is different. Okay, so one of the drills we've done over the years, which is just always a good thing to keep them on cue, was to sort of get it to about a halfway back spot. This is a good thing. So you actually can work on a couple of things at once. So you actually work on the initial movement away, check where it is, and then just maybe pump it a couple of times and then actually hit it. So let's see you do that. There we go, right there. And it really sort of focuses on the body completing the motion, and it really simplifies things. So get the club where you want it to be. Let's just do that again now. Hands in. So at this point, about head point somewhere between the feet and the ball. Okay, a little less with maybe a driver, the longer the club. Right now, from here, all you're going to do is complete the movement here and boom. Okay, so another one of those. Because that's always an exercise that if players getting a little out of position, A, in the start of the swing, or B, in the completion of the swing, that allows you to almost break the swing down. I mean, I did an article years ago in Golf Digest where I suggested that people start at a halfway back point. I mean, look, in baseball, you're starting almost in a complete backswing position. So, and the reason I said that is because most players tend to go wrong in the very, very early stages of the backswing. So, all right, so one more of those. Not bad, not bad. All right, so we're coming out of retirement, look pretty good, right? So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the actual body motion, the movement there, the pivot motion, if you want to call it. And I mean, one of the drills we've done a lot of, okay, so one of the things we always felt that, Brad, you know, I don't personally like the word turn, okay? I mean, do you turn? Yeah, sure you turn. And you could say, well, you haven't completed your turn. I mean, we just throw that word around. To me, it's all about foiling. And in a lot of cases, I'd rather see somebody have, maybe somebody has got great flexibility, but actually more coil and less turn. Just trying to turn. I mean, you get into all sorts of trouble, especially people say, one of the old theories years ago was turn level. Well, why would you turn level if the ball's down there? Okay, it's teed up here, 4 feet, then maybe you could turn level, but we don't have those long tees out there. So the thing is, this exercise, and you see Rafa doing it now, he puts his hands down, this right arm a little bit lower than the left, a little bit of tilt here. Now if he swings back, this goes up, this goes down, and you can see it's almost like a spiraling movement, it's a coiling movement. So he actually feels like it starts here, and then works all the way up to his chest and to his upper back. And we can see at this point here that the left knee, no sort of fancy movement here. I mean, hey, I don't care if the left foot comes off a little bit, it's not a big deal. As long as it doesn't sort of come off in this fashion, okay, there's a little bit more, but it's almost like a heel tap, if you will. But you can see there's a tremendous amount of coiling there. And then as he starts his movement forward, he can actually feels like he's going down within a squat motion, okay, and then it explodes through. So this is quite a good field drill for you, isn't it? This one, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done
I like this one a lot. I also like the same idea when I have my arms crossed here, because it really gets the body working. So, and this one's better when I really want to focus on the core. Once I know that is working, this one helps me feel a bit more natural how the swing feels. So I just like coil there and just really focus on what the body has to do in the swing.
Right.
And then the rest is just adding the arm, but like the swing.
Yeah, I mean, because you're feeling, one of the feelings that Rafa really loves, and Nick Faldo uses a lot, and I hear him using it on TV when he's commentating, is that, okay, keep the chest moving. And that applies to chipping, pitching, because a lot of times, I mean, that's been a really good key for you when you've been playing.
Yeah, I really like to feel like a full turn. I really like that. Then I want to feel how the hips are the ones that are starting the rest of the body to move. And the only thing is I cannot only focus on this because I tend to do my mistake, which is stay a little bit behind. But like when I really feel the body turning and the body coiling and coiling properly, that's my favorite feel.
And it's interesting, you know, we're finding a lot out, obviously, with the biomechanics, great friend of mine, and worked with Rafa as well, JJ Rebate in France. He talks a lot about ground force pressures, which he studied years ago in lots of different sports. And so it's not just golf, but I mean, using the ground is so important because, as you see, do that little crisscross exercise here. So as he goes back here, there's weight down the right heel. As he transfers, it's moving to the front of the foot. And then he goes goes from the right toe to the left heel. So it's almost like a figure eight, where it sort of goes back here, goes this way and that way. So
like that.
there you go. That's it. There you go.
And then you get here, you go
Shut
back.
that again. So see what he's doing here when he sets up to it. Okay. So he's got the right toes off the ground, but the left heel off the ground. So this is a really good way of accentuating the heel, especially, you know.
Then you put pressure on the entire foot, the weight still on the front, and then you start pushing back on it, pull the hip back, and then it's going to be rest point.
Right. So it's always like
That's a bit more advanced drill, but like it really gets the understanding of how the hip works.
yeah, it's one of JJ's drills that he likes to sort of show people because remember, it's a feel. And see, all these drills really are designed to, okay, that's the feel I want. So thinking your way through something, feeling your way through something is completely different. So there's ways to learn, and as coaches at the LGA, we're always trying to teach through feel. Getting the technique across certainly, but also making sure that somebody can go out and, because I say you know, the old John Jacobs thought that many players get paralysis through analysis is really, that is something we see time and time again. I mean, especially now with all the information out there that people can get on YouTube and try to fix themselves. There's nothing better than go see your teacher, then put their hands on you and, hey, this is the feel that you need to do, or need to feel, do this, let's get this drill working. So, yeah, I mean, we know we can teach through the internet. We do a lot of it now. It's a great backup, but the real thing is that, okay, just hold that club there, if I can go to the top there for me. Right, so if I, for instance, I'm just going to give him a little resistance here, you can see as he stops, it just actually helps him to feel that now. It's not necessarily a case that he can actually do that on his own without me actually putting that resistance there. So that's why these little exercises that they're called PNF, okay? It's like where physios, they actually work on players who, or their clients who maybe have a shoulder issue and they say, okay, resist. So PNF is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. So say that after a few drinks. Okay? But what it does, it's like a reverse resistance where, and so when Rat does this, go ahead, Rat. I'm going to do a couple of them here, which is very, very useful for players here. I'm going to put a little pressure right here. So as he starts back here, because the clubbing effect is now heavy, just push back and hold it right. So he's actually, I guarantee you, feeling that he's engaging his core in order to move it away. So watch. That's it. Right, now working back to the top here. So right, so now I'm going to actually just hold him here and get him to start to unwind. That's it. Oh, yeah, be working on that. There we go. I always remember, there's a kind of story here. One of the strongest men I ever worked with, his brother, James Seekman, is an excellent short game coach, best short game coach in the country. And his brother, Tom Seekman, who was a big guy, played the tour for a few years, had shoulders like this. Unfortunately, he had a big cat. We did this drill a lot. And so he actually went through a period where he played at Bay Hill and TPC, and he finished third at Bay Hill, maybe third at TP at the Players. And the caddy, just go back again, the caddy did this drill on every swing because his tendency was to unwind a little early. So when he did this, he actually felt the lower body going first. So it was right. So we did that, and would you believe it? On a Saturday, I think he was near the lead in New Orleans, the third week in a row. And when we were going before, he said he saw the caddy doing this with a little bit more focus on him. So he said, "Oh, I wonder what his caddy doing there? I've never seen this drill before." So would you know? He stood up there, hit the biggest snap hook that you've ever seen in your life, right in the water. He said, "Oh, well, that obviously works that drill." So it's like, so you never know. But the fact is, it's this sort of PNF, as we call it, is, we do things with rubber bands, like, for instance, we'll hold Rat's leg here just to sort of get the feel, because to say it's so easy just to, if you get a feel for what you're doing, okay, that's the feel, I get it. All right, so let's hit a couple of cool shots there, Rat. Ooh. Won't take you long, right? There's going to be nobody to sort of applaud you. You better bring your own helmet up, somebody can work for you. That's Notice the rhythm of the swing, the flow. There's no rush from the top there. Completes the backswing and boom. So, and you want to just go up and hit maybe say a 5-iron there, right? And you'll see, I mean, there's the tempo of a swing. If you took, and that's one thing we look at a lot when we time the swing, whether he's hitting a driver or a full wedge, from the time that he addresses it to the time he starts it back to the time he hits it, that time should almost be the same. That's consistent tempo through the bag. And so people can do that. They can time it. They can match it up. Obviously, you can split screen it up so you can actually see the timing. I mean, if with a driver you're here, okay, and with an iron really impact, well, obviously there's a bit of a lapse in your tempo, so a little issue there. All right, so one of the things we've done, I think I'm going to go back to yours later. One of the things we've done over this little off period here is giving Raf a little homework to do. He's getting better. So, Raf, it's we're not going to embarrass you on the TV, don't worry, on this show. All right, so just have a swing. So the one thing we felt with Raf is that the golf swing really is a push-pull motion. Okay, it's like you're pushing, you're pulling, you're pulling, you're pushing. So we're going to actually hit balls just with his left arm opening. We felt that okay, by doing this, it would actually enable his left side to pull, okay, and to really get himself opening up where he can actually then release the club. Because that's the key, really, obviously, to get to the point where one of the tendencies with Raf is just to maybe hang on for a little bit too long through here, and then the hands almost it's almost as if the release could be a little bit more, because I'm saying if you get it releasing, and you can see that's sort of the exaggerated version, but it's really interesting. I mean, so many of the great releases of the club, players like Hogan. I mean, you look at Adam Scott. I mean, there's a lot of players that sort of release it where it almost looks like this. It looks like they're getting flippy through the ball, and it's really not. It's just they're keeping the face square and trusting the fact that okay, that I'm going to throw a ball here. This is quite interesting to do. That's how I grip it like this. I mean, the release is very much, so here's my right arm, it's stroking gradually, and then as I release my right hand and forearm, you can see it's like I'm looking at my hand like this. That's the relief, rather than you see a lot of where there's a forearm rotation and what many players would call a flip. All right, so let's see this left arm deal here. Right, see how you progress from day one here. Oh, here we go. We can have a shot. Oh, I think we should stop after that one. That's pretty good.
No, that's right.
Really good. So when you do this exercise, what feeling do you get from it?
It's different. So obviously I can't go left arm is weaker, and from the club back here, I can't really hit at it with the arm. But what I can do is open up my chest, and then let's just feel more like a tennis backhand, I guess it would be, as opposed to trying to put speed on with the right arm. Here I'm trying to put speed more with the body.
Right. So you've been doing quite a bit of this with a little weight in the gym.
Just a 5-pound weight or 3-pound weight. Just doing rehearsals, one hand swings at the gym. Yeah.
Good. Right, that's what you've proved the point there. Okay. Right. So here we go. So let's hit say want to hit maybe
Whatever you want.
a 3-iron. Okay. So you are one of the few players these days that sort of Raf doesn't particularly like hybrids. So he's one of the old school there, like 3-iron. A lot of players on the corner don't know what 3-iron is. 3-iron. Wow. But you like the long irons, don't you?
I like long irons. Yeah, I actually like play long irons, but it's what I'm using the
Game improvement.
3500, and it just makes my life easier. It makes my life easier.
Yeah, because I mean, the only tendency you tend to have with these long irons is to flight the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ball has changed. The flight of the golf ball has changed. It's no longer rises like an airplane. Now it's just higher launch, and I was trying to get a high launch with a blade with 3 iron. So instead of changing my swing, I'd rather just change it up.
Good idea. Good idea. Well, modern technology out there, you can outline a club to suit the swing. I think that's one of the huge improvements in the game, especially these players are lucky enough. I mean, tour reps traveling around with them. And now, I mean, in the old days, you found players, oh, that's a nice looking club, and they adapted to the club. Nowadays, I mean, obviously with TrackMan, et cetera, we're able to sort of really fit the club to a player. Somebody's been in cold storage for a while, right? Feels pretty good. All right, let's get the driver out there.
One more.
One more?
Yeah, before the driver.
All right.
Before you're looking for a high draw.
Well, sit for a high draw. There you go. Okay. So you'll notice here, very relaxed forearms here. And this is if you look at Rafa, I mean, a lot of players, the tension level is tremendous. So an easy way to do it is just clap your hand. And you can see that's pretty much the way that Rafa looks and set up there. So, there's a little bit of a kink here in the arm. They're not dead straight here, tension. I mean, so many amateurs we see with those tight arms there. So, and grip pressure wise, what would you say? Out of 10. I mean, if 10 was the tightest, what would you think?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. So light, right? Because I mean, automatically your grip pressure is going to increase as you swing anyway, as you get closer to the ball. So a light grip, not necessarily a loose grip, but a light grip. Pretty good flight. Happy with that one? Take the driver. So the driver being a different beast, slightly wider stance. Let's see if we can get this keep out into the mat here. So what do you feel the difference is, a driver swing and iron swing, right?
Well, I mean, biggest difference is irons, you hit down at the ball if you want to hit the ball first. Drivers, you hit up on the ball. So you want to.
And your angle of attack is about +1, something like that.
Yes, I mean, I don't. Yes, +1 would be a good average. I don't use TrackMan all the time, but I'm confident to say it would be +1.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. Slightly wider stance, ball position slightly further
Ball
forward.
position on the left foot heel. You're further away from the ball because the club is longer. But then the rest of it, I don't try to do anything different. Even the hitting down or hitting up, I mean, a lot of it is just through ball position. I know that like the lowest point of my swing with the driver is going to be here. So that means that I'm just going to be hitting up on it. And on the irons, the ball is a bit further back. So that's why I'm kind of like hitting down on it. Also, the fact that the ball is further up just makes my shoulders tilt a little bit this way, which again is going to encourage hitting up on the ball.
Because one of the things that Rafa is, I mean, obviously he's probably one of the strongest cores on tour, but one of the things which I think that enables players to do is he's a lot more centered than he used to be. I mean, at times, he had a real shift to the right there. So you're seeing players, staying a little more centered, certainly. I mean, well, in some players, obviously we see almost leaning left here. I mean, Ben Hogan sort of had a little bit of that look as the right leg straightened. But you're certainly with the driver, I mean, you still got to be behind, you've got to be loaded.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like to feel like the way to going from, I mean, not staying exactly in the middle, but it's some like if I don't want it to be outside the leg, but you kind of feel like you're loading your right glute, and then when you're uncoiling, you're loading your left glute.
Do you notice me just stand behind Rafa here? As he winds up, it's almost like he shifts very slightly, but then as he completes his backswing with the upper body, this is already starting to go this way, so that it's almost as if it goes here and then reverts the other way. Yeah, that's that sort of figure eight movement we spoke about a while ago. Well, you haven't been completely
Should take,
away from the game here, right? That's
I should take longer breaks more often.
Well, as I say, it doesn't take long to warm up a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you have similar swing feelings. I mean, it's not like you go about it in a different way.
Correct. Similar. The prime ideas of setup, being square to it, all are all the same. And the same sequencing. So I also try for the same sequencing, which is like you said, when we start together, we feel the core, and when we reach the top, it's the lower body that starting the downswing, and then the arms fall into place, and then I just let go. So it's the same sequencing as with the irons.
Right.
Just the club characteristics and the setup is what makes it look and perhaps feel a little bit.
So when you, I mean, on app, your smooth swing is probably about 113, 114 miles an hour. And
Yeah.
when you want to ramp it up a little bit, I mean, what do you feel you do in order to do that?
So
I mean, because you like to sort of control shots, but if you've got a par five, for instance, then you can probably get there.
Yeah, if I feel there's like, let's say there's a trap at say 290 or 300 yards that I feel like I have a chance of going over it, then I'll rough it up. I say my average club head speed is going to be around 113 miles an hour. That would be the standard one. So in the morning, cold days, it could be less than that. But then if I want to ramp it up, I probably have like 117, maybe 118 miles an hour with me. Of course, that comes a little expense of control, so that's not how I like to play.
Right.
I can add, I don't know, 2 miles an hour, maybe around 115, which is like the normal drive. Let's say a hole that I want to hit a little harder without compromising too much, then I can ramp it up to about 115. And then, of course, the biggest one, I could even hit 120 once just because it happened, but I don't know where it's going to go.
Right. All right. See the little movement that he has to get going. He's not stationary, just a little bit of foot movement, hand movement there. That's pretty good, right? I mean, you see the perfect balance when he's finished there too. He's not off balance. He's in a position where I say that weight and that left heel, he's holding that position. So, anything else? I mean, look, obviously we try to keep this as simple as possible. I mean, especially when you go to the tournament. I mean, sort of looking at just little things. I mean, because the thing that people need to realize is that once you got a good feel for your swing, it's not like you stand on the practice tee for hours after a round, is it?
No. I mean,
you can practice that. I always remember Byron Nelson telling me that years ago, when he was still alive, obviously, that he said that when he won 11 tournaments in a row, hey, Mr. Nelson, your practice, how much did you practice during that time? I said, I hardly hit a ball. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, just hit a few to warm up. I said, because I had such a good field going, I didn't want to lose the field. But I mean, you can stand on the range and hit it good, and you stay there an extra hour, and all of a sudden feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly get your body tired. I think I'm not a believer in practicing hard, of course. But there's a limit. I mean, I don't think that 6-hour range session is the solution for anyone. You're most likely going to get injured, and probably the body just feels so saturated and so tired that by the last hour it's going to be useless, or you're going to be feeling and working something else.
Furthermore, I mean, look, as we know the importance of the game from 100 yards and in.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, you've got to spend a lot of time in that area because that's in the end, I mean, you hit 13, 14 greens, that's pretty good. Pretty good day.
That's why I always split my practice time. Always. I mean, I 90% of the time split my practice time 3 ways, so that I make sure that I'm giving each part of the game the importance it deserves. You're not gonna play good if you hit every fairway and then every green and then you're 3-putted all the time. And I can promise every fairway and every green every day it's not gonna happen.
That's right. Exactly. All right, come on. Hit a big one here, right? So ramp it up here. Maybe you're playing with Kev, trying to fly this teacher.
I've done that before. And it's not going to happen.
I don't want heat on that. All right. Well, we sort of, we went through quite a few points here. Look, it's, Raf's got a great natural swing. I mean, it's a natural swing of the club. Players walk by and just have a look at this beautiful rhythm on the tee there. And now it's just going to translate into victories. You've had a lot of high finishes all around the world. You've won tournaments, and obviously you haven't quite won in the States yet. But with what you've got and all the assets that you have, I mean, it's just a matter of time. And be part of the great Spanish heritage there. So I think we've got some questions
we do
that people have fired at us. So we'll see if we can answer them.
Okay.
If not, we'll end the session.
That's right. They've all been listening intently, I'm sure. We've got a few good questions. First one here from Joe. David, when you first started working with Rafa, did you make a conscious decision to make his strengths better, so they became super strengths, or do you work on weaknesses to bring them up to a higher level?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's a combination. I think you're obviously working on the weaknesses and certain things. I mean, and I think with the player and the coach, you've got to be a meeting of mind. I can say some things, and Raf will say, "No, I don't really like that." And so I mean, that's happened. Sometimes, right? So I mean, I don't take offense because he's the player. Okay, he's got to play. Okay, so it's just that there's certain things that that gel, certain things that don't. But I think what we did in the beginning was pretty much sit down and say, okay, so let's have a look at the issues here, and how do we go about doing it? Because when I worked with Nick Faldo, I mean, he didn't care how you played for 2 years. Well, that's not the case these days. I mean, there's so much riding on playing well almost immediately, and so you've got to get the message across in a way that it's a work in progress. So even though it might not be perfect, you work a little here and a little there. A player who's had a certain swing pattern for a number of years, you can't just completely overhaul it, because even if the theory's right and even if it may look good in practice, it's probably not going to work in play. I mean, it's too conscious. I mean, you do certain things naturally. Raf built up a couple of things in his swing, which he's done for many a year, and I wouldn't say we're trying to neutralize it. Well, we are. We're trying to neutralize it. I mean, and so it's like
we try to neutralize it without compromising. I mean, we just instead of saying, okay, this 6 months we're really gonna focus on it, we're just saying, okay, this is the feeling, this is a long-term goal, and like any other aspect of life or whatever, it's a long-term goal, and like if you say if we just get 5 or 10% better every year, we're working towards that goal, and that's
I mean,
and I don't feel that that's impeding me from competing.
Right. A golf swing is like a painting that's never completed. Okay, it's like the artist. I mean, I'm sure Da Vinci was still around, he'd still be tweaking the Mona Lisa. So it's like, it's like that's the way it is. It's like there's always a little something, a little feel. Hey, we could make this a little better without completely going off at a tangent. I mean, it's crazy. I think there are some players that tend to make too many changes. Okay, and I mean, you'd rather, to a large extent, you work with what you've got. That's why Coach Harmon's a great teacher. He works with what the player has. He doesn't actually change a lot of things. He just tries to enhance certain things. And so, that's you do that. Sometimes, hey, it may be necessary for quite a big change. I mean, Rafa's was a fairly big change from the standpoint of his synchronization and the shortness of the swing, but that sort of came over a period. It didn't happen overnight. So he was still able to at least get out and play and compete, and that's important. So, I mean, there's always going to be working on your technique. I mean, look, it doesn't matter. I remember I gave Arnold Palmer a lesson when he was 77 years old. Okay, and he said, "Hey, what do you think?" I gave him a little something. Okay, it's great. And so you never stop working on this game. Okay.
That ties in very nicely to another question about how you like to be coached, Rafa. Are you very technical? Do you think a lot about technique? Are you feel-based? Do you share that with David? Say, hey, this is how I learn best?
No, I mean, David and I know each other for so long that I never had to have that conversation with him. This is how I want to be taught. He's obviously been able to do that since he got to know me so young. I think like my previous answer answered that question a little bit. I don't like a lot of technical thoughts. I mean, even sometimes David has said, listen, you're swinging good. I mean, I think that maybe me being there on Monday or Tuesday with you is not really going to help. Just focus on the drills that I send you and go out there and play. And I try to be as least technical as I can, but I don't want to sound like I don't have a fully understanding of what I'm working on or how my swing is and what my mistakes are, because I do really understand it. I just don't want to be thinking about them while I play.
Do you have a swing thought that you go into a round with, or is it just completely blank?
No,
You're just thinking
my ideal scenario is I look at the ball, I check my stance, I look at the target, it feels good, and then I just hit. But there's outside that's the ideal scenario, and that's what I try for. Of course, there's some weeks you might have a tiny technical feeling. If I'm doing that, but like I'm just leaning a little right because it was cold in the morning or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, just make sure you give it a little extra, give it a little extra speed. But like there's nothing really as in feel the arm here in the middle of the backswing. Plus I hate backswing thoughts. I don't mind the follow through feel, but like the backswings one, I think they get you thinking about the swing before you hit the ball, and that can only lead to mistakes. So I wouldn't mind like, okay, just let it go a bit more, or hold it up a bit, or release it with a more draw feeling or fake feeling, but not in the backswing.
Do you essentially, you're starting the swing from the top in that regard, right? Did you have a trigger that with your transition, is there a trigger that you consciously have?
No, I mean, there's a tiny trigger that I have. I've never done this consciously, and it's a little shrug in my shoulders. But like the same way, like Olasabal, for example, he has this trigger on his right index where he looks like he's just pulling the gun and then he goes. I mean, Sergio would have a couple of waggles or letting go of the grip. I don't know, other people, Keegan Bradley spins his club. I mean, everyone has a little bit of trigger. Jack Nicklaus had his knee going on.
Yeah, his head, Gary Player's knee.
Yeah, sorry.
Before your time, right?
Before my So no real trigger. The biggest swing thought that has been with me all my life is just swing wide and then just uncoil with the hips. So wide swing, reach the top, and then just start the downswing with the hip. That has been the biggest thing that I've been doing for.
Is that something, Dave, you would translate then to the amateurs listening, that hip is maybe the thought to have to initiate the downswing?
Well, yes and no. I mean, it is. I actually like to think a lot of times. You spoke a little while ago about getting some pressure down into your left foot, because really increasing that pressure down through your foot. I mean, it actually triggers not only your hip, but it's your knee and your hip and your oblique and your left shoulder. It just gets everything starting to move. So you're moving first of all down here in your foot before the hip, when you can't stand it and just spin your hip out of your way. I mean, that just puts you right out of position. You see, most amateurs who slice, I mean, they have to do this anyway. So, it's horses for courses. I mean, for some players, I mean, Ben Hogan stood there for, made practice swings. Okay, turn that left hip out of the way to start the downswing. Well, he actually never did that. And it's interesting how players, what they feel and what they actually do, a lot of times completely different. So interesting.
This is a good one. I like this one, Raf. So at the Players, you were the first person to get an albatross on 16. We've been asked
at TBC
at the Players, right? So Scott asked whether you can replay that hole for us and talk us through your thoughts. Obviously, it was driver, and then
it was the wind was helping. I think it was fairly straight down. It might have been a tiny bit off the right off the tee. I hit the perfect driver. I mean, I hit it right over the corner, and I think it just ran through the fairway. But I had a really good lie maybe on the first cut, and I had 167 meters to the pin left. My 8-iron normally goes 150 meters, but the wind was now helping a little bearing mainly down or maybe a touch of the left. I mean, obviously at that time I was like maybe lying 20th in the event or something like that. So I was hoping for a good finish. but I was like a little disappointed with the day because I had felt like really nothing had happened my way, nothing had been going. And with my caddy, we decided that was the good club, and I hit it good. Hit it maybe like half a groove lower than what I would have liked it, but I still felt that I had enough club to reach because it was 160-17, but probably it was like 153 or 54 to the beginning of the green. With the help, it will give me enough club with my regular air, which is 150 meters. So I hit it not perfect, but I hit it good enough. And then I saw it flying on the good line. I was confident about it. And then I saw it took what I thought was a big hop. And I just like freaked out because I'm like, it took a big hop towards the right, and the greens were so firm and so fast. And I'm like, oh, that ball's just going to roll through the green and go in the lake. And this is like, again, something that didn't happen. And all of a sudden, I see the ball rolling through the green, and then it gets like to the pin, and then I didn't see my ball anymore. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? What happened? And then the crowd, because I didn't even think it had gone in. I was just like thinking, whoa, I was just thinking, where are you? And then I hear the roar, and I'm like, it's in. And I just like, I was just like high five with my caddy. Wanted to celebrate. I threw the club up, but like in the middle of my attempt to throw the club up, I look and there was maybe Francesco Molinari, and he was just was like, I don't know, 20 or 30 yards in front of me, just left in the middle of the fairway. And as I'm throwing the club out, I'm like, don't hit him. So I just like, kind of like pushed it a little right, and then I see the club flying, and it was flying right to the corner of the lake, and I was like, oh my God, I may need that 8-iron on the next hole if it's hurting. So I just plugged in the corner, I fished it out, and then I just ran to the green and enjoyed the moment because I didn't think that was going to happen.
Then you made two in the next one.
And then I made birdie in the next hole, yeah. I made a good par on the last.
Yeah, that was a good moment. Normally you get the cheers on 17.
Finished fourth that week, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice finish.
It was a nice finish, yeah.
How does it feel having played one round this year? That must have been the strangest. When the commission told everyone that Friday wouldn't happen, how did that all come about?
Yeah, it was, obviously disappointing because I had a good first round, but of course, the health and safety of everyone, including ourselves, is the most important thing. So if it wasn't safe and other sporting organizations were canceling their events, it felt like the sensible and for sure the safest thing to do at the time. In hindsight, we could have said we're going to finish without a crowd or whatever. Yes, there could have been a million other possibilities, but I think at the time that was the safest call to make. And it was actually disappointing. So I didn't know. I was about to go to bed, and my wife told me that they had canceled the following day, which actually I hated. I would have wished to have found out the following morning because then I would have slept good. But then I don't know. I just slept 3 hours that night. And because I didn't know, okay, what do we do now? Do we go back home now? What the hell's gonna happen? And I'm just lying in bed thinking about it. And I'm still here because of that. So it was a bitter feeling. But of course, it's just it's what do you say? Causa fuerza mayor, we say in Spain. So it's just something beyond anyone's control and safety first.
This is coming from Ed, which kind of relates to that. He asked, what else? Have you learned any new skills? Have you done anything else with your time off?
I haven't really learned any new skills outside of getting
He's learned that his wife's name is Sophia.
I've gotten really good at diaper changing. I still cannot get my daughter to eat the meal properly, but I will say I'm really good at getting her to sleep. Maybe just she gets bored with me and she just wants to sleep. But no new skill. Cooking more than ever myself. But,
well, you can do your pivot drill. That's worked well for me. When you're rocking a baby to sleep, you just do your pivot drill. Yeah. Perfect. You got into photography as well, I hear. What's that about?
Yeah, I like photography from a long time ago. I'm doing an online course now that I really like, and it's just one of my hobbies, and I really enjoy it. I like it.
That's good. Well, David, as we're talking online courses, this question comes in. So do you have online classes where golfers can have access to you and the other coaches?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's yeah, we get into that big time now, and so they can just check on leadbetter.com, and we've got all the instructions there how to get online with our instructors, and we obviously got a Leadbetter University course now for the coaches out there, and all the different modules from biomechanics to the mental side to technique to you name it. And so players are able to, coaches are able to improve their level of their coaching ability, shall we say, which is fun. So so we have a lot of programs, so just go online and just check us out, and I'm sure you'll benefit from it. And it's maybe not quite like the real thing, but we could certainly help you to get to a point where maybe, hey, you understand a bit about the swing. In fact, it's a good time for a lot of people who, I know golf are starting to open now, which is great. Well, most of them are open, but where you can hit balls into a net and you can do some little drills and stuff at home, and so it enables you to get a feel for what you're trying to do. As I say, it's I say to, we've got this young lady, Maria Fasti from Mexico, and I said, I mean, in some respects, I mean, as bad as things are, but I mean, it's enabled because we've made a few swing changes there, which we would never have done if she'd gone out playing. So you've got to make the most of it, keep a good attitude. The tour players, I mean, I know they're really desperate to get back out and play. I mean, it's their living and their love, and I know there's millions of people out there who really want to watch them play, and so hopefully it'll be good for mind, body, and soul.
Good. When are you teeing it up next, Raf? Do you have a tournament that you're going to be playing?
God willing, hopefully that's in Colombia, the 11th to 14th of June.
So now time to prep, and you now have a target, right?
Exactly. Now, I mean, the tour was going to give us at least 30 days notice, so I know I was going to start 4 weeks, the Monday, 4 weeks before the Monday of the event. I was going to start practicing seriously, and obviously the first 2 weeks it'll be a little slower, with not so much load because I haven't done that much for a couple of months. And then the last 2 weeks, obviously with more serious, higher, bigger load, and I just do it that way and not the other way around, because I feel like if I go from not having played almost anything to really doing a lot, it's just not good. It's not good for. I don't feel it's good for my body, and I don't even feel like I get the improvement. I would say like that's just like taking a brand new car and taking the reps per minute to 8,000. Maybe you want to start the first 5,000 miles, 3,000-4,000, and then you can have some fun with it.
What's the conversation been like with the other players that you've spoken to in terms of the new schedule?
I have bumped into a lot of the guys at TPC Sawgrass. So I mean, Russell Knox and Billy Horst, I think, are in the PGA Tour like players committee or whatever that organism is called. And we've always been like wondering whether it was going to happen or not going to happen. I mean, we had different views of whether it was possible, and obviously they have been in the decision making of how to make the playing experience for the players as normal as possible, being and following as much of the safety protocols that we have to do, so that we can play in safe conditions and in fair conditions for everyone. So I mean, they have obviously done a lot of thinking and a lot of work. The PGA Tour has put a lot of effort to get this going as they should, to try to complete the FedEx Cup season this year. And fingers crossed that we can start in June and start playing, even though it's going to feel a little different with no crowds and with the safety protocols. But I still think it's better than no golf at all.
Well, we wish you well. We'll be eager to see how everything starts up again. Last question. I guess a lot of people have been asking what all the scribbles are behind yourself and Rafa. Do you want to explain that wall, David?
Yeah, well, these are some of the sort of well-known people that have been here through the years, and we've got you want to be at the top there. It's Greg Norman right at the top. His signature is faded. We've got everybody from Jack Nicklaus to you name it on here. So some movie stars, some celebrities, some stars in different sports, and so just the Wall of Fame, I suppose. And
I have to add Raf on. Are you on there somewhere, Raf?
I don't know it for myself.
did you write it on there?
I don't know.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do that now. Well,
It should be up there.
I wrote, but someone needed the space and
they rubbed you off. Well, thank you.
All right, well, thanks. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Great to get back to golf in some form or shape. Say it'd be a little different, what they call it, the new normal or something. So wishing everybody the best, stay safe, and be sensible out there. Okay, that's what it's all about. So enjoy it. Thanks, Raf.